Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay. So, as decided, we thought of having the cracking quiz today, but these people did not reply me. So I will be I'll be asking you here only whatever the questions we can discuss here. But before that, I want to discuss about a small topic, debugging and testing today, and then we'll go for the discussion session. We'll discuss. I'll ask you some MCQs from module one. Okay. Let me share the slides.
আমার ট্রেক কিনে খোলা নাই ম্যাম
কি ক'লে
ট্রেক
নবজি
কিনে খোলা নাই ম্যাম
একো শুনিব পৰা নাই
ট্রেকিংটো অন নহয় ম্যাম মানে
কোৱাচোন মই বুজি পোৱা নাই what about okay am I audible? I don't know, can you hear me, all of you? Let me check. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then Nobojit, what were you telling me? Okay, let me share the slide. So today we are going to study a very small topic from your module 4. This is probably the last topic from module 4. I am okay, you're not able to join the cracking. It's okay. So actually I told you that today you will be having the cracking quiz today. I sent them the questions, but probably they are not ready. I don't know when they will conduct. So what I will do is that I'll ask you the MCQs here only in today's class only. I'll teach this small topic we have, debugging and testing, and then we'll go back to asking the questions. We'll discuss here. I think that would be more beneficial going for the quiz, because quizzes you can directly copy paste from internet. Okay, so what is debugging? Okay, so debugging, someone may tell me that it's a testing a process, like we'll have a testing is known as the debugging, but it's not exactly. There is a difference between debugging and testing. So debugging is something like once you test, if you find the errors, you can then just make fix that error too. So that is known as the debugging, finding a bug and then fixing that bug. Okay, so let's go for the definition. So basically, debugging is a systematic process of spotting and fixing the number of bugs, defects in a piece of software so that the software is behaving as expected. So in debugging process, what happens? We detect the errors and we also fix those errors. Okay, if there are any errors are present, we fix those errors. So that the system should behave exactly in the manner it is supposed to do. So in from this definition, it must be clear that this debugging is something which is done by the developers. Okay, whatever you do, like you go for the compilation of your program, right? In C programming, you go for compilation and then you run the program, right? That is done by the developers itself, right? Themselves. So that is means we write a C program, we compile, that is we are going for debugging. If we find any error, then we fix those errors so that our program runs properly, right? So debugging is harder for complex system, in particular when various subsystems are tightly coupled, as changes in one system or interface may cause bugs to emerge in another. So this debugging, when it is we are going for simple C program, so we know that only one program is involved. So it will be very simple. But what if when complex processes comes into action, when we have like this a software. So a software comprises of separate modules. So if the when we integrate, then we can find that there may be some error. So that may be very complicated to solve that kind of problems, right? When this emerges. Next. So developer is a debugging is a developer activity. Just now I mentioned, you write the C program, then you check, you compile the program to check whether it is okay or not. It won't be done, suppose it won't be done by the testing team. If you write a simple short program, it won't, you won't ask the tester, okay, so just test, compile our program and check. Right, otherwise you won't know, the authenticity of your program is lost then. Right, if you want to go for checking that whether your logics are working properly or not, so you have to go for debugging only. You go for compiling, right? So this debugging is a developer activity, and effective debugging is very important before testing begins to increase the quality of the system. So it's very important that before your software is handed over to the testing team, your program is like bug free, right? There are no defects. So what if you can think of a simple example, maybe not a good example, but just in case, for what you do in kind like C programming, if your teacher has given you some programs to do, you compile the program and check whether it is working or not. Then you show the program to your teacher, right? You show the corrected program to the teacher. So you can think the teacher is a tester. Then what the teacher will do, they will give different inputs to find out whether your working is whether your program is working properly for all other inputs or not, right? All these things you can think is done by the tester, but you are the one, you are the developer of that code, is to check that that program has no bugs, no defects, and it is working properly. So debugging will not give confidence that the system meets its requirements completely, but testing gives confidence. You only know that your program is bug free. There are no defects. There are no errors. So that thing, yeah, for you the program may be okay, but when your teacher checks, okay, for different set of inputs, well, if it is working properly or not, so once testing is done, you get the confidence, yes, the program is working fine. But debugging, that does not give you the confidence. Once you have tested that, obviously our system is okay, so that is once your teacher verifies your program, so you get the confidence, yes, we have done it correctly. Okay, now let's check the difference. I was telling you this concept of testing and debugging is two different things. Okay, so let us check the difference between the testing and debugging. So first point, testing is the process to find bugs and errors, and debugging is the process to correct the bugs found during testing. Okay, you in testing you only find the bugs, what are the errors are there, you just find the bugs. But in debugging, what you do, you correct also. Your teacher will not fix the errors, right? It's you who have to fix the errors. The testing team will find the errors, and it's the developer who will fix the errors. Next, testing, it is the process to identify the failure of implemented code. So you, in the testing process, you will find out like which part, why have this part of the code have been failed, what is the problem with that code, what is the logic that was that went wrong. And debugging is, it is the process to give the solution to code failure, so you will give the reason to it. Okay, next is, testing is the display of errors, it will display all the errors you got. But debugging is a deductive process, you tend to reduce those errors. This, when you write the code you go for compiling, you get the errors, right? Then you check one by error, in which line you have the error, syntax error and logical error, you debug it, you change those errors. Then testing is done by the tester, obviously it is done by the tester, and debugging is done by either the programmer or the developer. Same thing, programmer or developer is the same thing, same one. Testing, there is no need of design knowledge in the testing process. So we have studied various types of testing, so we are now aware that testing does not require to have any design knowledge of the system. We just need to put like whether it's your input is working properly or not. So when your teacher checks your programs, so they are least concerned about the logic, because everyone implements different logic. I just want the output, so they will give different inputs to check whether it is working properly or not. But debugging can be done without understanding the proper design. Okay, so you should have design knowledge for the debugging. You should know how your program is working, how your codes are working, then only we can go for debugging. Then testing can be done by insider as well as outsider. So insider, outsider, that is testing can be done by the developer also, or someone from the outside team also. That is someone from outside the implementation team also. But the debugging is only done by the developers only. It cannot be done by the outsiders, because debugging needs require of the coding logic, like logic that has been implemented in the program. That is why it is done by the insiders. Next, testing can be manual or automated. So we have seen that testing, we have gone for various testings are there. So like we have black box testing. So there we can go for the like normal manual testing, which I give the inputs to check. We don't know what's happening. We know only the input and the output. But we have the like white box testing, where we need the knowledge of the code. So it is used basically done using the automatic method. Now, debugging is always manual. Okay, debugging cannot be automated. So this debugging process is always manual. You have to check it manually. Next, in the testing part, it is based on different testing levels. So we have checked, right? We have found, we have studied the different testing levels, like the unit testing, integration testing, system testings are there. But debugging is based on different types of bugs. Okay, there may be different types of bugs, like why it is sometimes it may be working, sometimes it not may working, may not be working. So what are the problems? So it depends on the types of bugs. Now, testing is a stage of software development life cycle. We are all are aware of it, right? Testing is a phase. After the coding phase, we have the testing phase, right? Next, debugging is not an aspect of software development life cycle. It occurs as a consequence of testing. So you do not find any stage as debugging in SDLC, but it is this debugging is a consequence. It comes due to testing only. Now, testing is composed of validation and verification of software. In module 1 only, we have studied about the verification and validation model of software, while debugging process seeks to match symptoms with cause. By that, it leads to the error correction. So you find, you exactly try to find out what are the symptoms of the error, what is the cause of that error, and then you can, once you have found the causes for the error correction, then what you can do is you can correct the errors. Next is, testing is initiated after the code is written. Okay, so once the code is written, you can go for the testing part. Okay, but in debugging, commences with the execution of the test cases. But debugging will take place once you have designed your test cases. Execute your test cases in the testing process. So this was all about the differences between the testing and the debugging. So this was a small topic I needed to discuss today. Any confusion? Yes. Yes, students, any confusion in the debugging and testing part? Sleeping or eating? Okay, let me share with you one thing. Okay, difference is not clear. You no need. Okay, should I repeat it? Okay, okay. Just let me share then. Okay. So these are the like few of the differences between testing and debugging. So in testing, we are more concerned about finding the errors. Okay, we will find where the errors, okay, where it lies. So we will find the errors, but we are not fixing it. Okay, we have to fix it by using the method of debugging. In debugging, we correct those errors that we found during testing. Then it is a process to identify the failure of the implemented code. So we have to find out like how why our code has been failed. So we find out using the testing method only, by going for testing. But what about this one? Debugging. Debugging, it is a process to give the solution to code failure. Okay, so basically it will means release that code, because this code, what was a fail, if some code like gives results in some failures, so what we will do, we will remove it. So that is debugging. Okay, then testing is just a display of errors. It will when we go for testing, what it will show, it will just list out the errors. So these are the errors you are having. The testers will do that, they will find the errors. But debugging will what the debugging team will do, debugging team will to reduce those errors. Okay, then testing is done by the tester. Obviously the testing tool is there to test your software, but debugging is done by the programmer and the developer. So once your errors have been detected, you can give it to the developers. The developers will correct those errors. Now in testing, there is no need of like any knowledge. So we have seen the black box testing also, right? That we don't need to have any concept of the like how the program is running, how it is working. We should not have any knowledge like how it started, design of the software. But for debugging, it is very important to have the design knowledge, because we have to, for correcting anything, how it is working, how the program is working, we should know, have the proper knowledge of the software. Now, testing can be done by insider as well as outsider. Then what does this mean by the outsider? So I told you before in the previous classes, just wait, yeah, in the previous classes that uh, testing team should be separate from the development team. Okay, so in that case, it means that so that it not because the developer teams, they know how the software is built. So when it is uh, built, built, then what happens is the developer, uh, the developer who is involved in the testing team also, they know okay which part of the code has some problem. So the testing will be more biased. They probably wouldn't check those errors. Okay, so this testing can be, so this this may involve like both the testing team can involve like both the developers also and the testing team also. But for debugging, it's very important, like only it is done by the insider. Insider means the developers who have developed the code, because they have proper idea what has been developed inside the code, right? That is why it can be done only by the insiders. The testers cannot change it because they don't understand the code, right? Now, testing can be manual and automated. So, we have seen some testing that is like black box testing, which is a manual one, and we had also seen white box testing, which is an automated one. So, it can be both manual or automated. But debugging is something which always needs to be manual. When you need to correct the errors, you need to go to that particular code and change it. There is no software for like correcting the errors, right? It's a part of the developer who have implemented the logic to change to like correct the code. Suppose you have done a mistake in your C program in the logic part. Whether you can create a system to like detect where is the error, where is the error in the logic. So it's not possible, right? It's you who will do it. Now it is based on different types of testing levels. Testing is based on different types of testing levels. So you have know that the like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, but debugging will be based on different types of bugs. Okay, there are different types of bugs are there. We have not discussed bugs, so you will understand it. But when you study networking, also you will be getting the bugs. What are the bugs? The types of bugs are there, like maybe virus, malware, ransomware, all those things. Then testing is a stage of SDLC. So we have studied that one of the stage of SDLC is testing. But debugging is not a phase of SDLC, but it is a consequence. Since we go for testing, so there will be debugging. Because testing means there will be we will be finding some errors when we go for testing, right? So we need to fix it. So that is debugging. Then testing is composed of validation and verification of software, while debugging process seeks to match symptom with cause. Now, what does the symptom with cause? So, what is the cause of those errors? Okay, what are the symptoms that have been found? So, how will you like find the stop Like how will you find solution for this error? So that is the debugging. Now testing is initiated after the code is written. Once your code is done, then you can go for testing. But debugging commences once you go for the test cases. Once you create the test cases, what are the test cases you will apply to the code, then debugging should come in. Okay, so this was all about the difference. Okay, now let me share one more thing. Just wait. I wanted to show you something. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Can you see the Microsoft Word? Yes, students? Okay. Okay, so see, this were your fourth module. This was your fourth module. Okay, taxonomy of software testing, types of software tests, black box testing, boundary conditions, structural testing, testing coverage, test coverage criteria based on data flow mechanism, regression unit, implementation. So this is, today I covered this part, system testing and debugging. So this your entire module is over. So we are left with only this two modules. Okay, analysis, design, concepts and principles, and software project management. So this was the module we have completed. Software product and process, software requirements, and testing module. So three modules are already done. Okay, in 1 month we have completed three modules, but it's now totally dependent on you how much you have learned. So any specific topic you need any like revision of it, do ask me, because we have two modules, we have ample time, so I can complete
Ma'am,
it.
module 1.
Module 1. Okay. Others? So I think probably we'll start revision from Monday. Okay. Now the questions. Let me stop sharing and ask you the
Ma'am, if we
question.
do the revision, it will be.
Huh. Module 2. Yes, Agar?
Ma'am, if we do the revision,
Yeah.
all. Ma'am, if we do the revisions of all the modules, that will be
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
for
I
us.
can do that. I can do that. I know, like, we have covered a lot of topic. So, and since this is an online class, I can do that because we have time. Then after that, because I'm not in a hurry to finish the modules, right? So we can do that. I'll go for starting with module 1. So what I like ask you is that instead of like me speaking so much, please you also study that, so that we can have an interactive class. We have a discussion, not a normal class. Okay, so I request everyone to study. Okay, just wait for some time.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me open the quiz. So there are 10 questions. Okay. So I won't share the screen. So I'll just ask you the question. Okay, you can reply. I'll just open the chat. Okay, just tell me. Anyone can answer, or you can write in the chat also. Which one of the following models is not suitable for accommodating any change? Not suitable for accommodating any change. Prototyping model, build and fix model, waterfall model, RAD model. Which of the following model is not suitable for accommodating any change? Prototype model, build and fix model, waterfall model, or RAD model? Let me check the answer. What do you think? Anyone can answer yes. Which is not suitable for accommodating any change? Which kind of model? Yes, I got one answer.
Waterfall.
Yes, it is waterfall model. Yes, waterfall, because we cannot accommodate any change in it. Okay, so see, since you heard some like new model names, so don't get confused. So whatever, because the questions will be from all those areas from your syllabus only. I wouldn't give you something extra, right? Next question. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle, System Development Lifecycle, Software Design Lifecycle, or System Design Lifecycle. You got the question clear, right? SDLC stands for software development lifecycle, system development lifecycle, software design
Software
lifecycle.
development lifecycle.
Yes, it's the software development
Software development life cycle.
Yes, good. Shubham, Nabojit, Bhargav. Yes, good. Okay. Which one of the following is not desired in a good software requirement
In
specification?
software development lifecycle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was the previous one. Okay. Next, which one of the following is not desired in a good software requirement specification document? Not desired in SRS document, okay? Whether it is functional requirement, algorithms for software implementation, non-functional requirements, or goals of implementation. I am repeating once more. Okay, what it is like which one of the following is not desired in a good SRS document, that is software requirement specification document. Okay, option 1 functional requirement, option B algorithms for software implementation, C non-functional requirements, D goals of implementation. What do you think? Not desired, should not be present. It is not accepted that it will be present in the
এবার
answer.
কৈ দিব নেকি ভালকে অহা নাই
ৰ'বাচোন
মেম আৰু এবাৰ কৈ দিব নেকি ক্লিয়াৰ হোৱা নাই মেম
ঠিক আছে ৰ'বা অলপ ৰ'বা just take the question. I have it written in the chat also. Okay, if you want the this one options also I am writing in the chat. I think that because this is option A. Oh, okay, I got the answer. It is algorithms for software implementation. Yes, because we know in SRS we will have the functional requirements, because functional requirements, what does it stands for? What will be the like functionality of the system desired by the client will be there. Obviously the non-functional requirements also will be there. What is the customer's expectation, also what are the goals of implementation will be there. But it is not required for a client to know the algorithms for the software implementation, right? So that is why it is not desired. Next, just wait. Yes, it is algorithms. Yes, you have answered. Like, next question. Regression testing is a major part of which of the life cycle? Regression testing is a major part of which of the life cycle? I know this regression testing falls under software testing, but you see there is a question which of the life cycle model is there. So first is option is iterative model, waterfall model, V model, all of the above. Regression testing is a major part of which of the life cycle? Iterative model, waterfall model, V model, all of the above. What do you think? Regression? Think where regression testing is used. Why we go for regression? Just a tricky question. You have to think. Not a direct question, I mean. Okay, I'm getting answer. Yes, it is iterative model. It's not all of the above, Sagar, because see, in iterative model, what happens? We implement the software, and then again, if any functionality needs to be like added, we can add and then test again. So that is known as regression, right? Every time we test the code. So that is the iterative approach. Okay. Next, which of the following model put much more emphasis on testing? Which of the following model put much more emphasis on testing? Waterfall model, agile model, RAD model, VV model. Which of the following put more emphasis on testing? Waterfall model, agile model, RAD model or VV model? Let me check the answers. Yes, it is VV model. Good, Munmi, Bhargav. Yes, Kalyan, Sagar. Yeah, most of you have written the VV model only. Yeah, good. Next is, which of the following is not a verification activity? Okay, it is not a verification activity. Okay, inspection, testing, walkthrough, technical review. It's not a verification activity. Inspection, testing, walkthrough, technical review. Let me check. I think you have written. Okay, one. Oh, no, I got one answer. Not yet the correct answer. The correct answer I have not got. It's not the review or the inspection. Not the walkthrough. Not a verification is a testing. Okay, it will be testing. Inspection is a verification activity only. Even walkthrough is a verification, and technical review is obviously a verification activity. Even testing is not a verification activity. Yes, testing. Shivani and Persis.
Oh, like my
Uh-huh. Which activity is carried out first? Verification, validation, both A and B, or none of the above? Which activity is carried out first? Verification or validation? Or both of them are done together? Which activity is carried first? Done first, I mean. Yes, it is verification. Good. Now, verification is focused on product, process, both, none. Verification is focused on product, process, both, none. What do you think? Let me check the answer. No one answered yet. On what things verification is based on? Product, process, both, or none? No. I got one answer. Okay. Yes, it is. Those who have written process, it's correct. Okay, so it's based on process. Okay, the last question, I guess. No, I think last two questions. Second last question for you people. In V model, why test cases are created before code? In V model, why test cases are created before code? Okay, I am giving you the option in the chat box. Just wait, let me type the. So this is A. This is B. C. So this is D.
Endeavor Kodibu.
Question. The question is, in V model, why test cases are created before code? Is it to gain the confidence in the system, to find defect during dynamic testing, to meet project deadline, or to prevent propagation of defect in next level? In V model, why test cases are created before code? Yes, it is D. Yes, good. And the last question for you. Who determines the severity of bug? Who determines the severity of bugs? Whether it is developer, customer, tester, or all stakeholders? Severity of bugs is determined by whom? Developer, customer, tester, or all stakeholders? We check. Yes, it is the tester. So these were the questions, okay, for your quiz, which did not happen. So I asked you. Okay. Yes, good, good. It's a test. So you have kind of this questions you are aware now. So I'll be sharing the slide today, okay? So thank you all. We'll have a revision from module 1 in the next class. So I request everyone to go through it, okay? Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, I'll share the questions too.